Hi everybody, really sorry about the slow start this morning. I tried to talk to you on my laptop and for some reason it wasn't letting me get in. So I've now gone over to the ordinary phone and it seems to be working all right. So hi, it's great to be here and I'm really excited to be talking to you about confidence all week. Hi Susie. And this week's focus, as I say, is on confidence. We're going to be looking at what confidence is. Hi Fern, hi Fergus. And we're also going to be talking about that inner critical voice. Hi Magdalena. And then we're going to look at communicating with confidence. Following that, there's confidence in the workplace. And then on Friday, we're going to spend the time particularly focusing on tips for really building your confidence. And we've got Fern as well. Yeah, thank you. So before I move on to speaking specifically about confidence, I'd just like to mention about the situation currently, because it's a very appropriate time to actually be talking about confidence with what's going on around us. Because there's never been a time probably where so many people have had to so drastically change their lifestyle at one time. And that can cause a lot of fear, a lot of vulnerability in us. It's a natural reaction for us to think like that. And it makes us feel uncertain. It can make you feel a bit worried about what's going to happen and a bit out of control. And when we have a reaction to that of feeling uncertain and fearful, what it means is that we can have choice how we respond. So we can respond with our sort of worst part of ourselves and rush out there and buy all the toilet rolls off the shelves. Or we can respond with our best and bravest side. And we can really help ourselves and self-protect and protect those others around us. Now, we've seen both sides of people's behaviour over the last week or so. And I don't think it's about blaming the other person who do things differently, but recognising where it comes from them. It comes from this fear, this uncertainty, and this need to feel secure. So I suppose my message around that today is all about kindness. It's about showing yourself kindness even when you're feeling that you don't know what's going to happen, you don't know how things are going to turn out. Even then, the important thing is to show yourself and others kindness. So on that point, we have two teenagers, my husband and I in the house. So it's getting quite tetchy at times, particularly over a 2.5-hour game of Monopoly yesterday, where I went on to win, I will point out, for the first time. But things do start to get a bit stressed and a bit irritable. And that's absolutely normal. In those circumstances, probably time apart within the house is the best thing. Okay, so moving on to confidence. What is confidence? Well, confidence I like to define as believing in you and believing in your abilities. And that has nothing to do with success necessarily or failure. Because if we say that we believe in ourselves and our abilities, what that means is then we're okay to go out there and do things whether they succeed or whether they fail. And when you're in that sort of mindset, it means you can take opportunities that you may not have done before. You can take risks. You can do things that grow you from your comfort zone because you feel okay and that you know that whether you succeed or whether you fail, you'll be all right. So the way I like to define confidence then is that it's more about something that takes you from thinking to acting. So it's the confidence that comes between thinking I want to do something and actually doing it. It's the confidence gap. So I think about a friend of mine, Sarah. Now, Sarah is a good friend and has for years talked about joining a choir. She's been online and listened to them. She's popped her head through a couple of choir practices, but she's never actually got there until about 4 months ago now, when she tried a virtual choir. enjoyed the anonymity of it. And gradually it built her confidence up enough to take her thinking about wanting to do it to actually taking action. So that's what I think of a confidence. It takes you from thinking about something to actually doing something. Just a second. Shut the door. We don't want any strangers coming in, any children. And for me, my journey into confidence, I had a 17-year corporate career, which I was very successful in. As part of that, I did some coaching of senior staff. And when I took voluntary redundancy to have my 2 children, I had no idea what I was going to do. But I knew my love of coaching and learning was something I definitely wanted to explore a bit more. But when my children were 3 and 2, I was diagnosed with a really serious form of cancer. It was very aggressive, and it's quite a rare one. So the cancer was in the placenta of my 3rd baby. The baby didn't develop properly, and for the first 12 weeks, I just thought I was normally pregnant, very sick. Everything was over the top, but I was very sick. And it turned out that that placenta was actually a tumour, which was still producing the hormone for pregnancy, so everybody still thought I was pregnant. But it got so big that I was in a really serious situation. I was bedridden in hospital for a long time to stop the tumour bursting whilst they chemoed it. So for about 1.5 years, I was completely in that cancer bubble. And if you've been there or you know somebody that's been there, then it's a really nerve-wracking time. Your whole life becomes about cancer. So when I came out of the other side, and I'm now on remission, which is fabulous, it meant that all of that sort of people worrying about you and helping you kind of stepped back, and you're left there thinking, so what do I do now? I've lost a load of confidence. I'm not who I was. What purpose have I got now? What use have I got now? And it wasn't until I coached myself through those sorts of feelings to get to a place where I did feel more confident. And when I got to that place, I then had that light bulb moment. I know what I want to do. I want to help coach other women who've lost their confidence due to whatever reason, not necessarily cancer, could be divorce, work, redundancy, whatever it was. And that was how my business, Confidence Coaching for Women, has grown. So I've definitely been there through all of that, and I can certainly empathise with you if you are lower in confidence, because I've definitely been there. Okay, so where does confidence actually come from is a question I'm actually often asked. Why is it that one person walking down the street oozes confidence and another of us just sort of, stand in the background feeling shy and scared to speak up? Well, the difference is that 30% has been shown by King's College London to be the amount of confidence that comes from your nature. So basically about 30% of what is in your confidence is driven by your DNA. So you can't change that, I'm afraid. You've got it or not there. But the remaining 70% actually comes from a combination of our nurture, so what our upbringing was like, the messages we collected from our upbringing. It's also about, the role models we had, the schooling, the experiences we had in life. So sort of life's experiences and conditioning is part of that 70%. But the other part of that 70% is also our choice. So do we choose to move out of our comfort zone? Do we choose to do things that will stretch us? And I know in this group that this is what you're here for, to grow and stretch and develop. So if you've got that sort of mindset, then you are going to grow your confidence. But just to reassure you that 70% of it in there is down to nurture, experiences, and your choices. Okay. What else did I mention? I was just going to mention an example there for you. So if you take an example of a client I worked with, Now, she was suffering with social anxiety, found it really difficult in groups or meetings or social events. And she told me that her brother, her mother, and a father were all, when she was growing up, quite socially successful. You know, they were gregarious, extroverts, got on really well in parties. They'd be the heart and soul of the party. But when she was smaller, she tried to fit in, to copy and emulate whatever they were doing. But that meant that it felt really uncomfortable for her because it wasn't naturally in her. So as a result, she made the choice to step away from that. So for her life, she'd had a really positive role model of confidence socially in her family. But she made a choice to move away from that and withdraw. And even now, she struggles with social anxiety. So she chose, despite her upbringing and role models, to go in a different direction. And that, again, it can be confidence, but for her, it didn't actually give her what she wanted. She actually wanted to be more socially available and able to mix in groups. So sometimes it's about nature and sometimes it's about choice. And again, when I think of myself, when I was in a corporate position, I had some difficulties in sharing my successes. And I talked so much about the mindset visibility at work, being able to share successes in an authentic way. But I really struggled. That was not something I found easy to do at work. And that comes back for me a lot to my upbringing. Because my parents, particularly my mum, when we did really well at school or in sport, would give a sort of, oh good response. There's no real praise coming in, and there's no real, blowing of the trumpet at all, even within the family. Never mind with anybody else. She wasn't going to be telling anything else. I was taught, don't blow your own trumpet, stay modest, stay humble. And that is great in certain environments, but when you're at work and you do need to talk about things to progress, it becomes really difficult. So that would be a take for me. That what are the messages that you picked up through your childhood that maybe now are completely illogical, but are hanging on in there in your self-conscious? So what do you think you could be holding on to in terms of the sorts of messages I hear, or you must respect your elders and betters, or you're no good, you'll never achieve anything, or you're too sensitive, or you're too direct? Anybody got any insights there as to what the messages are that you've picked up in childhood? No messages coming at the moment. Okay, so we'll move on then. But it's worth thinking about those messages. And when you have identified something that has held you back, what I suggest you do is first of all, get really clear on what the message is that's holding you back. And secondly, you challenge it logically. You challenge, for example, should I never blow my own trumpet? Well, is that logically true? Well, most of the time it's quite nice to be humble and modest. But there are some situations where you do need to talk about things. You do need to praise people and praise yourself. And that's okay to do it in the right situation. So I therefore might take my belief from childhood, you mustn't boast, and take it into, it's okay to share my successes in the right situation. So we take those messages that are holding back our confidence, and you can then use them to move your beliefs forward. Okay, I know you've had a month previously all about self-worth, and that's an absolutely fantastic subject, but I just wanted to link it into confidence with you a bit today. Because for me, self-worth is all about yourself, how you value yourself, how worthy you feel you are as a person in comparison to other people in this world. because we can tend to think that we're not equal to the person with the big job title, the money in the bank, and the Jaguar, or we're not equal to somebody who is selflessly working in the NHS frontline at the moment, because they have things that give value to them. But we all have equal self-value. We are all born with equal self-value. You don't see many babies being born who are asking for counselling. We've all got that equal self-value. It's just that we go through life and experience and we distance ourselves from it. So one very quick exercise that you can do to enable you to have to look back to your self-value and to really communicate with it and get in touch with it again is to think about 3 strengths that you have, both personal and professional. So ask yourself, what are the 3 strengths I've got that are personal, and what are the 3 strengths I've got that are professional? The next step for that then is I would like you to ask one friend what 3 words they would say about you that are positive, and one professional colleague what 3 words they would say about you that are strengths and that are positive about you. So I'm asking you to ask yourself, a professional colleague and a friend, 3 things that are positive about you, 3 strengths you've got. And it's really important that you look and take in these words and don't just dismiss them. Oh, that's nice. Because these are the way people perceive you. These are things inside you that you may not even have. So for tomorrow, I'd love you to share in the group some of those positive words. And hopefully it's not scary, because they are positive words you'll get. You're not asking for any negative. And something quite nice to do is to pay back the other person with 3 positive words about them. So I'd love to see a quick video, a quick post share from you on what those 3 positive things are. Okay, so to finish today, I have also got for you a self-confidence quiz. Now, this is a bit more of fun. I'm going to attach it to the bottom of the message when I work out how to do it, but I will attach it to the bottom of this Facebook Live. And it's a very short 14 questions. You just score yourself on 1, I never do it, to 5, I do it very often, on each of the statements. If you add up your scores at the bottom, then it will give you a brief description on your confidence. Now, this isn't absolutely, it's not perfectly data in terms of exactly how confident you are, but it gives you an idea on the sorts of areas of your confidence that you might like to improve on. I like that one from you, Paul. My mum was always be seen but not heard. I was always given more freedom. Well, that's good. So not being seen and not heard can lead people to have problems with speaking up in groups and speaking up to senior people. And so Susie's very kindly just popped in the quiz below there. So that's where the quiz is for today. If you download that and have a go at that just for a bit of fun. But I would suggest that you again post your results in the group. There's only 3 types of results, and you can post that in with just a comment. Love to see a little video, but a comment and a post would be helpful too. I have to tell you that I came in the middle group and not the top group, which was a bit of a surprise to me, but there we go. So have a go at that for tomorrow. Don't forget to do your 3 words from yourself, a friend and a colleague, 3 strengths that you've got. And I'll be back with you tomorrow morning, and we're going to be talking about that lovely inner critical voice. So don't miss that. And I look forward to seeing your posts in the group. Thanks a lot, everybody, for listening. Bye.